Everyone, welcome to Lauren's Scraplot and my weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. I'm sorry I missed crafting with you guys last week, but I was having a great time with my family out at a summer camp. The kids had all sorts of adventures with ziplining and playing sports and going on high ropes courses and creek walking, and it was great. So I missed you, but I really enjoyed that time with my husband and my kids, so I am so happy to be back. Now, before I get into this project, I just want to tell you guys that usually I post these videos Tuesday at noon. I'm actually going to start posting them Tuesday evenings instead, probably around 6 or 7 p.m. just because I think many of you are at work or busy during the day, and I'm hoping that maybe I'll get a few more people able to tune in when the videos first post if I post them in the evenings instead. Of course, please remember these are always available for you to watch at any point in time, so it doesn't matter if you're available on Tuesday evening to watch it live, you can always save them, and if you've got my page kind of bookmarked and that little bell clicked on, you'll be notified regardless whenever I post a video. So I'm going to continue my Show Me How It's Done series, and then if you do watch my channel regularly, in September I will be back for another season of the Great North American Stamping Show on Thursday evenings with some friends in the States as well. So make sure you're liked and subscribed because there's lots of great ideas and fun projects coming up for you. But this week I would like to share this fun project with you. This is from, well, it's inspired by a demonstrator named Tammy White. So I can show you her little printout here. She made this kind of a card with the Delightful Wishes stamp set a while ago, so you can always head to her website and get these printed instructions, but don't forget that I also have put the measurements in the description for you to grab at any point. So I decided I wanted to use Painterly Pears because that was an online exclusive that came out in July. The great part about this card though is there are no die cuts on it. You can use any paper that you have and any color scheme that you have. It doesn't have to be exactly what I'm showing you today. I'm just going to show you a beautiful suite that I thought you might not have seen because it's online, and these along with all the other online exclusives can be found on my website laurenerbonus.stampitup.net, so make sure to check them out. Just type online exclusives in the search bar, or in the top you'll see a little bar that says happening now, and you can check online exclusives there. So here's Painterly Pears. There's a great suite collection including some gold trim, some sparkle dots, this great paper, and some of these paper sheets also complement the Perfectly Pears die set, and of course by default the stamp set as well. So really I did take a sentiment from the Perfectly Pears stamp set for this project. I took the little hello. You can make this thank you or friend, or you can use something completely different from your own stash. But the point of this card today is to show you how to make this little fun pop-out fun fold, and I don't even know what to call it, but we're just going to call it a pop-out card. So if you'd like to follow along, I will give you all the measurements. You can also click pause and cut all your pieces because you can see the description has all the measurements as well, and then you can join me and we'll put this card together. Stick around to the end because I have a couple alternative projects for you as well. So to begin, you will need a card base of your choice. I decided to use Mossy Meadow because that was a gorgeous color that showed up in many of the papers in this Painterly Pears. So this one, here, I'll put this back here for a second. This one is going to be cut at 5.5 by 8.5, so 5.5 by 8.5. And then we need to do 2 score marks. So 2 1/8, 4 1/4. And that's going to create the base of our card. So to fold this card, we would first fold it in half. That would give us this kind of a look. And then we need to fold this little panel backwards to make the front panel pop out. So if you have a bone folder, go ahead and grab it to give yourself a nice crisp line here. Mine has nicely disappeared, so I just grab a block and you can use the edge to give you a nice solid edge as well. So there's the mechanism for the card base. Let's fill in some of these pieces. So I'm going to just flatten this out so it's easiest for you to see. And we're going to start with our pieces of basic beige that go in the backdrop here. So first off, you're going to need just one piece that's 4 by 5 1/4, and two pieces that are exactly the same here. They will be 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and they're going to go on these panels right here. So whether you like to use double-sided tape or glue or seal, doesn't matter. You can go ahead and attach all three of those into their spots right now. Then they won't run away. And you do need a flat adhesive though. This isn't a step to use dimensionals just yet because we have so much dimension coming up on the other parts of the card. You don't want to overdo your poor little envelope's capabilities. I should have, there we go, take your pick tool. I'm curious what you guys have been doing during your summer. I feel like our summer here in Edmonton has just flown by. My kids are back to school now already in a couple weeks, so back to school shopping soon. And yeah, maybe add in the comments what you've done. Have you gone on a trip? Have you stayed home and just enjoyed being around? I know all of you are not necessarily in Edmonton, so tell me what your weather has been like. My poor mom, she's in Calgary, and they've been having lots of flooding because they just have torrential downpours and a lot of mosquitoes. We went up there the other week and kind of got eaten alive, but it's been pretty good here. All right, there's our basic beige in the background. Now we need some designer paper to decorate. So again, it doesn't matter if you don't have this package of paper, grab something you do have, okay? So one sheet that is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Just remember, if this is a patterned paper that has a direction like mine does, these pears you want facing down. So we're gonna want the 3 3/4 across the top, and then the 5-inch goes the long way down. If you've got kind of a miscellaneous pattern like what you see on the back, it really doesn't matter because you could flip this around any which way. Same for these two side panels. If you have a preference on the direction that they are going, then we're going to need the top part to be 1 5/8, and these side pieces are going to be 5 inches. You'll need 2 of those designer series papers as well. So 1 5/8 by 5, and you guessed it, we're just going to puzzle master them in. So turn those over and add some tape to the back here. Package of paper because it has both kind of feminine and masculine pieces in it. So I could take, there's a yellow kind of Cajun craze, not Cajun craze, what am I, crushed curry, there we go. I knew it was a food or spice. There's a crushed curry kind of color scheme, so you can make a more masculine looking card as well here. I like the pink. It's nice. Alright, so there are all my pieces for the backdrop of my card. Now we are going to work together to make this little mechanism here before we worry about these square pieces. So this mechanism is probably the only other part you really have to pay attention to me for. And that is going to be another piece of basic beige that is cut at 5 inches by 1 inch. And then we're going to do 4 score marks on it. So at 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and 4 inch. So that is an easy strip to make, and it's going to be very easy to put together too. So you see those score lines? We're going to fold them all inward. Basically, as long as you're folding in the same direction on all 4 of those lines, you are good. And then if you can imagine with me connecting those 2 ends, we would make ourselves a little box. See, a little box here. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on one of these ends here so that I can attach those 2 together. We're making our little box. You can do this by laying your piece flat or up in the air. It seems to work as well. Okay, now that you have a square, we are going to squish it together so that basically all you see is 2 of the panels. Okay, it doesn't matter which 2 you're seeing. You could do front or back, but you need to see 2 panels all together. Make sure they're nice and flat. And then we're going to put adhesive across these 2 panels, across both of them. You do one at a time, but this is going to save you a lot of time. So we've covered now both of those sections. I'm not going to take off my backing yet. What I want to show you is where we're going to line this up. So do you see our score line down the middle of our card? And if I was to turn this over, you can roughly see the score line across the middle of my 2 squares. That's what we're going to line up. We're going to put 1 square on the right and 1 square on the left, so they kind of straddle the card, and just make sure that our score lines all the way down are lined up. So I put mine as close to the center of my card that I can. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect. So now I can take off my adhesive backing and put this into place. Again, just making sure I'm going onto that score line as much as possible. I've straddled that card. Okay, now you need to close the card up, and that will kind of rebend your card into what you need it to be. So just fold it straight in half and squish it down with your hands. Make sure everything's nice and folded. Then when you pop up and out, this little box will appear. And it's hidden when you close the card. It opens so that we can put a little decal on there too. Hopefully we're so far so good. Click that pause button if you do need to take a break or to slow down at any point. But I'm going to move this out of the way and bring back our sample because we have a little bit of building to do for our decor pieces. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to grab the same color of cardstock that you've done your base with. In my case, it's Mossy Meadow. And we're going to cut out 3 squares. They are 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So 3 of those. Then we need a little offset piece. So I'm matching the basic beige right here. I feel like I need to sneeze. Oh, that's better. Bless me. Okay. 3 squares that are basic beige. They're going to be 1 5/8 by 1 5/8. Once again, 3 of them. You can go ahead and layer those if you want, but I'm just going to do all my cutting at once. So let's do our designer series paper. We need 3 squares. I did 3 of the same square, and then I just flipped one of them over and used the back side. But of course, you can use different colors too. They don't have to be identical. So these are going to be 1 1/2 by 1 1/2, and you'll need 3 of them. So there's my little pears. I'm going to flip one of them over and use the green side as well. So let's start attaching these guys together. Once again, no dimensionals on this part because the card kind of pops out and has a lot of dimension to it, and we're going to put dimensionals on the back of these squares as well. So let's put adhesive on and get these guys layered up. If you're a glue person, this will probably be faster for you, but I don't want to get my desk all sticky. I have a couple more videos to film today too. I hosted a fun fold class this month, and so this card, we did something very similar to it at the fun fold class and actually even at my August card club. So if you're ever interested in any of those kits, I do videos very much like this, and they're just sent privately to you, and I can mail kits anywhere in Canada. So if you ever want to participate in those classes, message me. I will, if you send me your email address, I'll get you on my email list and you can see all the events. And you can also see them on my Facebook page. I usually post them the month of if there are spots left. So that's the caveat. If you're on my email list, you get notified about 2 months ahead of time and you have a chance to sign up. But some of my classes, especially Christmas ones like the Stamp-A-Stacks, I only make a certain number of kits, and once they're sold out, they're gone. So sometimes I don't even advertise them because they go so quickly. So it's up to you guys, but if you message me your email address, I will put you on my email list. And even if you're not in Canada, I still send out announcements about sales that are going on with Stampin' Up! And some project ideas here or there. So you never know. I try not to spam you, but it's a fun little way to see what's going on in my little world and the classes that I have. All right, on to my designer squares here. Layering those up. You'll notice that the designer square has just a really, really subtle border. It's not very large because I wanted to showcase the designer paper, but I did need that layer in behind it of the basic beige just to make it stand out a little bit more. I tried it just on the Mossy Meadow and I didn't love the look, especially once I flipped this green piece over. Oops, that one's too close to the top. Here, there we are. One more. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start by attaching the two squares, which you can see here kind of turn into diamonds, onto the front of our card. So I'm going to pull those two out. They do end up being kind of tilted little pears, and that's okay. So what I need to do is I need to attach them to this left-hand panel. But the thing you're probably tempted to do is just go ahead and put dimensionals all over your square. That would be a mistake, because if we put them all over the square and put this on, your card will end up closing up. So what I like to do is instead, I'm going to turn my little diamond over, and we're putting dimensionals only on half of this square. And I know the camera's focusing very closely on that. So here we go. Here are our tiny little dimensionals. We're just going to figure out which way we want these tilted. I think that way is good. Okay, so one in the left-hand corner. And then I would suggest not putting it right in the center, just kind of off your center line there. Again, you just don't want to risk the card kind of closing up on itself if you put the dimensional too far over. So there we go. So there's two of our little diamonds. You can take your backings off. And these two will fit pretty perfectly tip to tip on the card front. Then we're going to center the third one in between them. Okay, so here we go. Got this guy folded down. I'm going to line up the bottom and the top of my little angle right there. Don't press really heavily just in case you feel like you need to move these. But you can see without touching them, they line up pretty well. There's a tiny space there and a tiny space at the top and bottom. And that's perfect. So once you're happy with how they're resting, as long as your tips are kind of along that fold line, then you can press them down. I never commit until I've got everything placed. Then this piece here, you can put dimensionals just directly onto your tab. That's going to be the easiest way for you to attach this. Or if you don't want dimensionals, you can even just do that part flat. So I'm just putting a couple dimensionals in here. Then we're going to grab our centerpiece. You can decide which way you want it. Like this. Okay, so I am just going to tuck the tip into the corner here and then just kind of bend down and make sure it's pretty centered in between. If it wasn't, like I accidentally put my little pop-up too far up or too far down, this is an easy time for you to just adjust your square and move it up or down on that panel there. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's good, kind of sticks out in a fun way. Okay, now for a sentiment. Hello. I just cut myself the tiniest little piece of scrap, so it's about 1/2 inch, and this one I sized to the word hello, so it works out to 1 inch wide. But if you have something longer, of course make it longer, that's fine. Sorry, need a drink. And I used early espresso for that. In the center. There we go. Okay, so I decided to put that on this panel here, but when I hosted the class, I did have some people decide they wanted to move the sentiment elsewhere, and so that is completely up to you. You can certainly put it on the front of the card, you can put it down in the bottom corner. You don't even have to have it if you don't want it. So some people put it down here, some people put it kind of up here as a middle bridge because they did a little longer. Some people put it in this space. Really, whatever you do, it's going to be cute. I just wanted it kind of hidden, so I'm tucking it in the back there. And there's your card. Super, super fun. Okay, I promised you a couple other ideas. So at Club, this one you do need dies for, but we use the stylish shaped circles. And we made another version. So here's stylish shaped circles. And I just layered that with some Let's Celebrate designer series paper. But this paper, I realized not everybody wanted, kind of like a cocktail and drinking card. So that package of paper has a lot of other imagery in it too. And we just did another version here with the flowers. So these are the same paper packs, same idea for the card, but just using some circle dies instead. So there's another idea. You can do your squares, you can do your circles, and hopefully you have fun with the card. I look forward to crafting with you guys again next week. And just a reminder, if you usually look for these videos in the afternoon, they're going to start being posted in the evening instead on Tuesdays. And then starting in September, we're back to the Great North American Stamping Show as well. So see you guys later. Comment below, let me know what you're up to this summer. And yeah, even just click the like button. I really appreciate your support. Bye guys.